In this video, I'm going to be going over the 5 most common mops that are out there on the market, from the most traditional bucket mop to the most modern AI Robo 2-in-1 fancy mop that exists. Just like you wouldn't wear heels to the beach, you wouldn't use the wrong mop for the wrong job. So today we're going to go over each and every single mop, and I'm going to tell you which mop is best for which job in your home. The very first mop we're going to explore is the traditional bucket mop. This mop has been around for ages, whether it's a specific brand or a style of mop. The original bucket, rag, or string mop has been around forever, and it has always done a great job mopping floors. I have found that the best jobs to use this mop for are for specific cleaning areas and areas where you want a controlled deep clean. This is where you can go ahead and you can actually have full control of the tension of the rod to the mop head, and you can apply pressure to things that are maybe stuck on messes, maybe areas that are really grimy and sticky and really need a good deep clean, and areas where you can specifically control where the mop head goes and how much pressure is applied to the mop head itself. This is also a great mop if you want to control the amount of liquid. So if you want to use a little bit more water, you are able to, because you have full control of how much water you're able to use on this mop head. Or if you're looking for just a drier or more dampened mop head, you can also control that because you can wring out the excess moisture. I use my traditional bucket mop for days when I really need to go in and do a really deep clean of all of my floors, and I will go ahead and I will put cleaner in there, and I will just put a nice hot water in there, and I can control that, and I know that my floors are getting a really deep clean. The drawback to this traditional mop, of course, is having to carry around this large bucket with you. It does get heavy. It's not easy to carry up and down the stairs, and the fact that you do have to go ahead and then clean the entire mop head afterwards and the bucket itself, it is a lot more labor intensive. So I do save this specific mop for deep cleaning days only. Now, the second mop that I own that is a little bit more traditional than what you see nowadays is simply a flat mop. Now, I've talked about my favorite O-Cedar H2O Pro flat mop in many of my videos, but it remains to be my favorite flat mop because of how lightweight and how easy it is to use. So this type of mop is great for many things in your home. This is not just for your floors. I use this specific mop for my walls, for my ceilings, for my vent hood. You can also use this for areas like dusting, maybe like taller areas in your home, or maybe ceilings, areas that you normally would not be able to reach. And you can also use this wet or dry. And what I like to use my flat mop for is for really quick, easy cleanups. I keep this particular flat mop in my pantry ready and loaded to go at all times, because just in case if there's an area that I need to specifically clean really quick without getting out any other machines, I will go ahead and I will whip this out. I will say that this mop is not great for deep cleans or for cleaning up things like spills or big messes. This is more of something to dust, to do a quick spot clean, or just to do like a visual touch-up. This is also a great mop for areas where you really need very little moisture. So if you have very sensitive floors, this is a wonderful mop because it uses very low moisture and it just slightly is damp, and you can also control the amount of moisture you put into it. This particular mop, I like that it separates the dirty water from the clean water tank, and I know that I'm always mopping with clean water. Now, the next category of mops I actually want to touch on today are the Robo Mops, and those are the 2-in-1, the ones that vacuum as well as mop all at the same time. And for today's video, I will actually be showing the UWANT D100 push-in wet-dry vacuum mop. UWANT has graciously sent me their D100 wet-dry push vacuum mop so that I can compare it alongside all the different mops that are out there on the market and to determine which mop is best for which job. Now, I do a lot of product testing on this channel, and before I include anything in my video, I do make sure that it works, and I want you to see firsthand how incredible this machine is. I have always been hesitant to use the wet-dry combo vacs because in my past experience, they tend to smell after a couple of uses simply because the roller does not get dry. However, with the UWANT D100, they have an amazing feature where it does a double cleanse of the rollers in both directions, but also it dries it with heat. So at the end of your use, your roller is clean and completely dried, so there is no smell. Now, when it comes to practicality and ease of use, I decided to put this wet-dry vacuum to the test because for sure, I want to know when is the best time to use this type of machine. And let me tell you, it did such an amazing job. The very first test that I did was I made a mess with a bunch of powdered sugar. And as you know, powdered sugar sticks to the floor. It's messy, it's sticky. Even if you vacuum it up, it tends to leave a residue. This swept up and mopped everything all at the same time. done. But I wasn't done there. I went ahead and I decided I would put ketchup all over the floor. Now, it's hard to clean up ketchup. You have to get the paper towels out, then you have to mop it. I didn't have to do any of those things. I simply went over it with that UWANT pushback and it cleaned everything up in one single stroke. But I still wasn't done there. I also went ahead and I spilled milk on the floor. And I actually went ahead and started to try and clean this up with my Flat Mop just to have a comparison of how long that would take. And the only thing that my Flat Mop was doing was actually just pushing the milk around back and forth. And it took me forever to clean it up. And then at the end of cleaning it up, it actually left a sticky residue. So then I went ahead and I actually used my UWANT push mop and I decided to see how well it would do with spilled milk. One pass is all it took. And then I still wasn't done. I decided to sprinkle in some cheese. That stuff is sticky. I didn't want to get out my vacuum. I didn't want to clog that up with my vacuum. I didn't want to get down and clean that by hand. Again, super quickly, one pass is all it took and it got rid of all of the cheese. It did not leave a residue. Now, simultaneously, I decided to do these same tests using my other mops, such as the bucket mop and my flat mop. And of course, it did not do a good job. If I used a bucket mop, the only thing that it was doing was actually just kind of swiveling that mess around. It did not pick up anything. So the fact that I did not have to get out a vacuum, a broom, and then a mop, and simply had to use the UWANT 2-in-1 vacuum, it was an all-in-one machine, cleaned up everything. And then when I was done, what I was more shocked and surprised by is the fact that it has a 2-chamber compartment for the mess. So the solid stuff goes into one compartment and the liquid dirty water goes into a second compartment. So even that, you're able to throw away the nasty solid chunks and then you take the liquid water, whatever wastewater was there, and throw it into your toilet and you are done. You give it a quick rinse, you put it back into the base, it cleans everything all on its own. And then I just went ahead and I rinsed out the cup just so it's ready for me to use the second time around. Also, unlike other 2-in-1 mops and vacs on the market, this one has a floating handle. So you're actually able to take your handle, extend it so your arm is not kind of stiff and stuck in one position. You're able to float the handle in any direction. And my favorite feature is that I can fold the entire machine completely flat. So when I'm mopping under my table, it goes under my actual table. I don't have to move anything. It goes around my chairs beautifully. This is such an efficient and quick tool. Now, when would you want to use such a machine? You want to use a 2-in-1 mop when you want to do a very specific quick cleanup of a specific area. Yes, you can use this all over your house, and I have, and it cleans up pet hair beautifully. But the best way that I have found to use this are for those messes in the kitchen specifically. After I'm done cooking, after the kids have had a meal, when there are messes all over the place, this is when you want to use a machine like this because this is a targeted cleaning approach. All right, moving on to the next category of mops that I've actually been absolutely loving, but they're not right for every single job, and those are the mopping robot mops. I've been using my Robot Narwal mop for almost a year now, and this is my go-to for setting a good clean when I go to bed or when I'm leaving the house. This is not a targeted clean, but this is a daily maintenance clean. This particular mop is great for areas that are more open and more, I would say, clean and organized. If you have a lot of clutter or wires laying around your home, you do not want to use a robot mop. Number one, you're just going to waste your money because it's going to be stopping every couple of minutes because it has obstacles in the way. It's also not going to do an efficient clean for you. This is absolutely great for you when you go to bed and you shut down your entire kitchen, your house, and your floors are generally clear, but you have maybe a little bit of crumbs, dust, pet hair, and things like that on the floor that you need to clean up. This is the best tool for that, but it does not do a great job in my mudroom where we have our shoes, for instance. It also doesn't really do a great job if you have higher pile rugs because it tends to get trapped on those, but it does a fantastic job in our living room as well as our kitchen when we go to sleep. So I still use this every single day, but this is not for any kind of those stuck on messes, any kind of grime or buildup that I want to wash. I will typically use either my handheld robot mop or I will use a traditional bucket mop. But when it comes to keeping things nice and clean and tidy and hands off for me completely, the Narwal Robot Mop is really the way to go. And the last mop that I want to mention for today's video is absolutely not for every single floor type, and that is the the steam mop. The steam mop is an absolute genius invention that I absolutely love, and I think every single person needs to have in their home, but it is best used for things like tile floors or water-resistant LVPs. This is a great solution for when you need to sanitize certain floors, or if you really need to get in and clean things that are stuck on completely, or like an adhesive that is stuck on the floor that is really difficult to remove. This is when a steam mop comes into play. I have water-resistant LVP, so I use this on my flooring whenever I need to get in and clean up any kind of like really stuck on messes, or I just want a nice sanitization of my floors and to feel like I can practically eat off of them because the steam will kill bacteria. If you have pets or kids, this is such an amazing tool to have because you can get rid of things like urine stains, urine smells around the toilet. This is a fantastic mop to really get in, deodorize and sanitize. You just need to be careful about which type of flooring you're using it on. The other drawback to this type of mop is the fact that you do have to fill it with the water, wait for the water to get nice and hot and boiling and steamy. But if you have a little bit of patience, this is well worth to have in every single person's arsenal. If you were ever confused as to which mop should you buy, which mop is best for your job, I hope this kind of cleared up any confusion and answered any questions you may have had. I love all of these mops for all the different reasons that I've listed, and I own all of these mops and continue to use them. But maybe if you have one specific need over another, it's great to know which mop to buy for your specific situation. If you have any recommendations of any other mops you'd like me to try or would like to provide any feedback, you're always welcome to do so in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one.